All right, welcome, business-minded operators, sports marketers, and global strategists to this Upside Journal Deal Flow Explainer. Today, we're putting on our senior analyst hats to decode the capital allocation of the 2026 World Cup. Now, we aren't here to talk about formations or penalty kicks. We're here to talk about the intersection of football economics, African diaspora brand strategies, and the massive sponsorship landscape unfolding across North America. Because the 2026 World Cup isn't just a tournament, it is a sprawling, multi-billion-dollar emerging market. So here's our executive briefing agenda for today. We're going to kick off by mapping the money trail, then we'll look at the economics of kit partnerships, dive into diaspora host city activations, and finally, wrap it all up with the long-term brand flywheel. Wow, okay, to truly understand this landscape, we've got to start with this staggering macro environment. FIFA's projected sponsorship revenue for the 2026 tournament, it sits at an immense $1.8 billion. That is a massive influx of capital. But if you're an agile brand or an operator looking for ROI, staring at that $1.8 billion figure, it can kind of feel like looking at a closed ecosystem. Like, how do you even break into that? Well, the secret is, you absolutely don't need a billion-dollar war chest to capture immense value from this event. You really just need to know exactly where the capital is flowing and where those strategic entry points are. Let's jump into Section 1, Mapping the Money Trail. We're following the capital from global giants straight down to the regional players. Just look at these stark contrasts between these ecosystems. Over on one side, you've got your Tier 1 global partners, your heavyweights, right? Adidas, Coca-Cola. They're paying absolute premium rates for global, ubiquitous rights. They are literally playing in the billionaire sandbox. But contrast that with the Tier 2 and host city supporters. These represent highly accessible entry points for mid-market and specifically African and diaspora-linked brands. You don't have to buy the whole world. You can buy the exact market you want. It's a real game changer. Let's actually break down who's playing in these spaces. You've got major official partners like AB InBev, Bank of America, McDonald's, and Unilever anchoring the broad footprint. But those host city supporter programs, they are absolutely crucial because they fill in the regional gaps. If you're a smart regional brand, you can capture incredible visibility in specific cities that are hosting African teams, and you can do it without needing a FIFA-level global budget. It's targeted, it's efficient, and the ROI potential is massive because you're speaking directly to a concentrated, highly engaged demographic. Moving on to Section 2, the economics of kit partnerships and securing visibility across billions of viewers. Now, the heavyweights are allocating serious capital here, and for good reason. Look at the key players. Adidas is continuing its strong presence with South Africa, the legendary Bafana Bafana. Meanwhile, Nike and Puma are just dominating the landscape, with massive deals securing Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Morocco, and Egypt. Look, these aren't just apparel deals, okay? They're basically moving billboards with exposure to billions, literally billions of global viewers. For operators tracking brand equity, these kit sponsorships represent premium exposure that crosses borders instantly. When a team from Africa makes a deep run, the ROI on these kits absolutely skyrockets. And here's something that brilliantly illustrates the ground-level economic impact, way beyond just the logos on the chest. Benin has actually won the bid to produce jerseys for the tournament. I mean, this is a massive economic victory for African manufacturing. It creates local jobs and, honestly, more importantly, it showcases local industrial capability on the world's biggest stage. It really proves that the money trail isn't just flowing out to global conglomerates. Smart negotiations are pulling capital and infrastructure directly into local economies. All right, let's jump into Section 3, Diaspora host city activations and how brands are bypassing the strict official entry barriers. Take a look at this breakdown. This is where the deal flow gets hyper-local and, frankly, highly lucrative. In a hub like Atlanta, which is gearing up for South Africa matches, we're seeing diaspora communities and local chambers of commerce capture revenue through localized fan zones and official after-parties. Up in Philadelphia, acting as a hub for multiple African and diaspora teams, cultural institutions and grassroots businesses are securing vital supplier deals. They're activating their community networks to make sure the massive influx of tourism dollars doesn't just go to corporate hotel chains, but actually flows directly into the local diaspora economy. Now, if you're an operator trying to get in on this, you're going to immediately hit a wall. And that wall is FIFA's Clean Stadium Policy. This is a notoriously strict set of regulations designed specifically to prevent ambush marketing by non-official sponsors anywhere near the official tournament venues. Basically, if you didn't pay the premium to be an official partner, FIFA ensures you cannot just buy a billboard across the street from the stadium. It locks down traditional advertising tight. No way around it. But, here is where the entrepreneurial ingenuity really kicks in. Smart brands aren't fighting the clean stadium policy, they're outmaneuvering it entirely. They're bypassing these restrictions through creative off-site workarounds. We're talking highly orchestrated viral stunts, really engaging pre-taped content, and rich diaspora-focused cultural programming that happens well outside those stadium exclusion zones. Content creators are actually turning community passion into direct economic opportunity, driving merchandise sales and tourism tie-ins. Basically, they're capturing the audience's attention where FIFA's jurisdiction ends and the culture begins. Which brings us to our final section, Section 4, the long-term brand flywheel, moving from immediate ROI to lasting brand equity. The ROI benchmarks we're seeing here are incredibly clear. The activations that actually win are the ones targeting high engagement from young, mobile-first African and diaspora audiences. It's not just about slapping a logo on a wall anymore. The focus absolutely has to be on authenticity and community ownership. It requires multi-channel amplification, meaning you're bridging the gap between social media hype and real on-ground physical events. And when it's done correctly, as the data shows, this translates directly to measurable brand lift and immediate direct revenue for aligned businesses. So the really crucial point for operators is mapping this three-step flywheel early. Let's see how this builds. Step 1, sponsorship exposure. Whether that's a kit deal or a local supplier contract, you've got to secure that initial visibility. Step 2, cultural storytelling. You don't just rely on the logo. You build a genuine narrative around community pride and authenticity. And step 3, diaspora networks. You inject that story into highly connected, mobile-first grassroots networks. This compounding effect is what sustains your brand's growth and profitability far, far beyond the final whistle of the tournament. Which really leaves us with the ultimate question for you today. As an operator, a marketer, or a brand leader looking for sustained deal flow, what is your smartest World Cup activation strategy in 2026? How will you leverage this intelligence to position your brand in the world's biggest, most culturally dynamic market? Think about the flywheel, map out your entry points early, and whatever you do, don't get left on the sidelines. Thanks so much for joining me for this Deal Flow Explainer. Until next time, keep tracking the capital and keep building the culture.